Shalom. I want to start off by saying Kal Halal Yamla, Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Ba'asham Raka Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us His truth, and who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the Akim that is spread around the four corners of the earth, spreading this word in sincerity and in truth. Shalom to the hope for the elect. I'm the brother Quatazab Sayan, coming back through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai with another lesson, with another video, and Lord willing, this video is edifying. Gone. So in this lesson, I want to go into the topic that 2/3 of our nation are going to be in the kingdom, but they're going to come through our seed. You know, so the 2/3 are going to come in the kingdom, but not with the first fruits. They're not going to have the rank that the elect have and that the 1/3 have. You know, so without further ado, I'm going to jump straight into it. Let's first jump into the topic that to understand this, you have to know, acknowledge, and accept that reincarnation is part of our heritage, the Israelite heritage. And who are the Israelites? The so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. You know, so reincarnation is part of who we are. So for you to understand this topic, you have to know about reincarnation. And I'm briefly going to touch upon this topic. I'm going to start with 2nd Ezra 15, verse 34. Salakia. That's 14. 2nd Ezra 14, verse 34. God. Therefore, if so be that ye will subdue your own understanding and reform your hearts, ye shall be kept alive, and after death ye shall obtain mercy. Verse 35. For after death, this is the point, for after death shall the judgment come, when we shall live again. You see? So it's plain and simple that after death, if you live your life correct, in your past lives, then you will obtain mercy after death. But if you live an ungodly life, then you will get your judgment here upon earth after you've died, and then you're going to come back in the regeneration, in reincarnation, because the word re means back, and carnation comes from the word carne, which means flesh, to be back in the flesh. And regeneration means back, and the word gene comes from seed, you see, to be back in the flesh through your seed. Regen is to be back in the flesh through your seed of your forefathers, because you are your forefathers actually. But you go to the Most High, and He, like in Men in Black, you have that neutralizer that Will Smith has. The Most High, He uses His neutralizer. You don't know anything when you come back in the flesh, or else you would go crazy. Your own thoughts would haunt you because you knew you were wicked, and you know that the judgment is going to come here upon earth. So when you come back in the flesh, that's when you're going to get judgment. So let's read it again. This is 2nd Ezra 14, verse 35. For after death shall the judgment come, when we shall live again. You see, being reincarnated. And then shall the names of the righteous be manifest, and the works of the ungodly shall be declared. You see, so sometimes you see people walking rolling in a wheelchair, or walking with disabilities. People are jacked up, their face is jacked up, or whatnot. And a godly man will know that that's judgment of the Most High. People of the world, they would think, oh, that's so sad for him. We gotta help him, we gotta do this and that. But a godly man, a man of the Lord, he's gonna know that that is judgment of the Most High, because he has a wicked spirit actually in him. And now he has been humbled down, because now he has came into his lot and received judgment. You see? Now let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes 3, verse 16. to prove that this is the place of judgment. This is Ecclesiastes 3 verse 16. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. You see? So as it says, and moreover I saw under the sun, where's the under the sun? Here upon earth. The place of judgment. That's the place of judgment. This is where you live out your sentence. You know, as the ungodly they get their judgment, and the righteous they get their conciliation also. You see? They don't get jacked up by the Most High like how these other people get jacked up. You know, the way the Most High jacks a righteous person up is to chasten him and to become even more righteous. To call that man near unto the Most High. That's how the Most High he shows love to the righteous men. If you have a son and you love him, you're gonna chastise him, beat time. If he does something that you don't approve of, being his father, then you are gonna correct him. You see. So that's basically where you see that reincarnation comes in the Bible. Follow in region. And this just popped into my mind. This is Matthew 19 verse 28. And Yahushai, which Yahushai is the person who everybody ignorantly calls Jesus, and he's a dark-skinned man with white woolly hair. And this is what he said. He's coming to redeem his people, which are the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. He doesn't come for every nation, because these other nations are counted as spittle unto the Most High. You see? And Yahushua said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, you see, that word regeneration, what I just spoke about, re is back, and generation comes from the word gene, which goes into the word seed. So that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, so in your reincarnations you also followed the ways of you also followed Yahushai, in every single life that you come back in, because that's what John 10 says. My sheep know me, and they hear my voice, and they shall follow the Yahushai wherever he goeth. That's also the virgins in Revelation. They always come back to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. So it reads, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, he also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging 12 tribes of Israel. God. So this is talking about the 12, actually. This is talking about, let me rephrase that. This is talking about the 12 disciples, you see, because they are going to be in the top judging the tribes, because you're going to have a rank system in the kingdom of heaven. Let's briefly touch upon that. There was, bear with me for a second. Matthew 5. Is Matthew 5, verse 19. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, talking about the 2/3, talking about the false prophets, these other camps that break the commandments and they teach men so, and shall teach men so, in these camps, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So that seems like a ranking system to me. The Most High, he's all about decency and order. Let everything happen in decency and in order. He put up, you have Yahweh, then you have Yahushai, and then you have the man, you see, and then you have the woman. So the Most High, he works with order. So how is there not going to be order in the kingdom? There's also going to be order in the kingdom. You see? Let's prove that. Matthew 5 and 19. And if you go into that word least, it's ela, elagitos, elagistos.
Strong's G 1646. Elagistas. Elagistas.
Elagistas. And the outline of biblical usage says, in rank and excellence of person. It's like in rank and excellence, of persons, in authority. So they're gonna be least in authority. They're gonna be least in rank and in excellence. But you're gonna have the first fruits who are gonna keep the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of their ability. You see? And they're gonna teach men so also. And if you go into the root word, you have an equivalent unto that. That says outline of biblical usage: small, little, of size, hence, stature, length, age, time, gone, of rank or influence. So the 2/3, the ones that are going to be breaking the law and the ones that teach men the wrong doctrine, they are going to be called the least in heaven, as it says in the scripture that some are going to wake up to everlasting shame and contempt. When they wake up in the kingdom, because how are they going to wake up in the kingdom? Through the seed of the elect. You see, because the elect is going to make it through this world destruction that's going to come, and they're going to make it into the new world, into the new heaven, the new heaven and earth that is going to come here upon earth. You see? So let's go into that briefly. Revelations 14 and 14. So like, yeah. Revelations 14 and 4. This is Revelation 14 and 4. These are they which were not defiled with women, and women represents philosophies, these other doctrines, other philosophies, other religions. For they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. And the Lamb is speaking about Yahushai, and they will follow him wherever he goes. So even in the regeneration, when they come back, they're still going to find their way to Yahushai. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto Yahweh and to the Lamb. You see? So they were bought since the foundation of the earth. They are the first fruits, Those are the elect men. They are gonna follow Yahushua wheresoever he goeth. It doesn't matter how and when they're gonna find their way back to him. You see? And then you're gonna have the 2/3. But the 2/3 are gonna come back through the seed of the elect. But before we go into that, let's go to Romans 11 and 26 to prove a point that all Israel is going to be saved. So it doesn't matter if you're 2/3, you are going to be saved. But that doesn't give you a getaway card, that you should sin freely. But we, being in the truth and kind of seasoned in this thing, so we understand that this 2/3 has to be, because in order for a 1/3 to exist, there has to be a 2/3 to make the complete and full Israel. You can't have a third part if you don't have 2/3 parts. Then it wouldn't exist. For there to be able to be a remnant, there has to be a part that has to be taken, that has to be gone. But in the end, the whole part, the 3/3 part is gonna exist in the kingdom as one whole, as one body, all Israel. But now on this side, 2/3 has to be cut off because they are the seed of the wicked, of the ungodly. Because Israel gave up Yahushai to Pontius Pilate. It's not the Edomites themselves. No, it's Israel. You know, the 2/3 of Israel. You have people that went off. If you go into the book of Second Samuel, if you go to the Chronicles, if you go to Joshua, people went off, did wicked things for us to be an example for how not to live. But let me read this first and break it down. This is Romans 11, verse 26. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, which is Yahushai, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. You see? So all of Israel is going to be saved through Yahushai. You see? Through Yahushai, you're going to have the elect that is going to enter into the kingdom, and then the regeneration is going to begin, and all of Israel is going to dwell safely. Because on this side, we are not dwelling safely. See? Gone. But what I was speaking about is that in order for us to be godly, for the righteous to be seen as godly, then there has to be ungodliness, then there has to be unrighteousness. You know? Let's go to 1 Corinthians to prove that. 1 Corinthians 11 and 19. This is 1 Corinthians 11 and 19. For there must be also heresies among you, that they which are approved may be made manifest among you. You see? So, in order for you to be approved, to be able to prove yourself, you have to have wickedness, you have to have ungodliness, you have to have, you have to have balance, a yin and yang factor. In order for you to be called righteous, then you have to have people that live unrighteous. You see? Because that's what the scripture says also in 1 Corinthians 10, verse 11. Now all these things happened unto them for ensamples, which is, ensample is an example, and they are written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come. You see? So all these things happen for an example for us, for the righteous, to see like, okay, this is what happens to you if you are unrighteous. As I just explained at the beginning, that, when you come back into the earth, when you live again and you see people that are deformed and stuff like that, it's because of their ungodliness. If you look at the people in India, they always, when they are where they are born, you always have children there with, extra hands, extra limbs, a tail and stuff like that. That's because they are worshiping these monkey gods of them. The Most High has a sense of humor, so he tags them with, symptoms and things like that they look like the God that they worship. The Most High has a sense of humor like that. So these things, when the people come back, then they get their judgment. You see? And that's for the godly men to see that and to be like, okay, that's basically a wicked person coming back in their lot. But going back to 1 Corinthians, let's go to Romans 21. Romans 11, verse. Let's go to read further till 28. This is Romans 11, verse 26. Read it again. Let me read it again. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn again, turn away ungodliness from Jacob, which is the Israelites. For this is my covenant unto them when I shall take away their sins. As concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sakes, but as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sake. You see, as concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sake. So the 2/3, they are on this side, are enemies for our sakes because we seek righteousness, and then unrighteousness is gonna hate us for following Yahushai. You see, but as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sake, but the elect are loved from the Father. You see, but the point in this scripture was Romans 11 and 26 that all Israel's gonna be saved when they come into the kingdom, because they have to come into the kingdom righteous. You know, they can't come with their two-third mannerism again into the kingdom. Why? Because this is what the book of Revelation says. Revelations 21, verse 27. And this is in the kingdom. And there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination, or maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. See? So there's not going to be anything that defiles the kingdom within the kingdom. Nothing that worketh abomination or lies. So the 2/3, they have to be all righteous when they come back into the kingdom through the seed of the people that survived the first the first world, the world before it, the world before Jacob, that survived Esau's world. See, because the elect and the 1/3 are going to be saved because of their through their righteousness, through them seeking Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You see. So let's go back to Romans. Well, let me just get one last precept in 2 Peter 2, verse 12, to prove that they, meaning the 2/3, have to be taken and have to be destroyed on this side. This is 2 Peter 2, verse 12. But these, as natural brute beasts, because that's the 2/3, they hear the law, but they don't listen to it. They hear the truth, but they shun it, they abhor it. You see, because they just want to live according to their flesh. They just don't want to live ungodly. So they are considered brute beasts. So 2 Peter 2 and 12. But these, as brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil of the things that they understand not. You see, that's always what you hear from these 2/3. You know, they're always bad mouthing the prophets. They're always making a laughing stock out of the prophets. You know, those are the ones that killed the prophets. Those are the ones that killed Yahushai, you see, or delivered them up to be killed. You see. So they speak evil of things that they don't understand, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption. Why? Let's go to the book of Proverbs. Proverbs 1, verse 24. This is why they are going to be destroyed and perished. Proverbs 1 and 24. Because I have called, and ye refused. I have stretched out my hand, and no man regarded. So that's why Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is going to come upon them with fierce indignation, fierce anger, with righteous anger. You see, they're going to be taken in their own devices. If you read Proverbs 1 on down, then you will see what will happen to these 2/3 of Israel. Let's go to Zechariah 13, verse 8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, meaning America, that's all the land, saith Yahweh, 2 parts therein shall cut off and die, but a third part shall be left therein. You see? These are the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So in order for there to be 2 parts, there has to be one part of Salakia. For order to be one part, there have to be 2 parts also to make the completion of Israel. You see? So that's why 2 parts, which is 2/3, that's going to be destroyed on this side. Verse 9. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. So they're going to be tempted, they're going to be afflicted, they're going to be chastened by the Most High, made perfect. That's how Yahweh Shem Yahushai makes the man perfect, you know. And will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahweh is my power. See? Let's go to the book of Ezekiel 5. Verse 12 and 13. A third part of thee shall die with the pestilence, and with famine shall they be consumed in the midst of thee. And a third part shall fall by the sword round about thee, and I will scatter a third part, so like a third part into all the winds, and I will draw out a sword after them. You see? So Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is gonna destroy them everywhere they go. You know, pestilence is gonna come for them, famine is gonna come for them, the sword is gonna come for them. You know, because why? As we just read, Proverbs 1 and 24, they didn't listen when Yahweh Bashem Yahushai was calling. And they have been solely made for that purpose, to be taken, because they're seen as heresies. You know, they are solely there for the contrast, to see that this is ungodliness and this is righteousness. You see, in order for the righteous to be approved, there have to be ungodly people. Verse 13. Thus shall mine anger be accomplished, and I will cause my fury to rest upon them, and I will be comforted, and they shall know that I, Yahweh, have spoken in my zeal, when I have accomplished my fury in them. See? So it's all the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai that these 2/3, they have to be taken away on this side. So now going to my final point. Let's go back to the book of Romans, because Romans is a good book to explain the coming back of the 1/3. That's like at the 2/3. God. So this is Romans 11, verse 31. Even so have these also known not believed. Salakia. Read it again. Romans 11, verse 31. Even so have these also now not believed, that through your mercy they also may obtain mercy. And who's speaking about the your mercy? The your mercy is speaking about the elect, the remnant that is going to be saved. Through the mercy that they received, the 2/3 are also going to receive mercy, because of the reincarnation, because that's the law. That's the law of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. He regenerates people, the spirits, back into a body of the same nation. If you're a man, then you come back as a man. If you're a woman, you come back as a woman from the seed of that nation. You know, you don't particularly have to come back as a certain tribe, but you are gonna stay within your own nation. You know, there's no Edomite that's going to be reincarnated into being an Israelite. No, man, that doesn't exist. That's not the law of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. That's not the ordinance. So, let me read again. Romans 11, verse 31. Even so have these also now not believed, that through your mercy they also may obtain mercy. For Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, had concluded them all in unbelief, that he might have mercy upon all. You see, so he had put them in their unbelief. You gotta just leave them in their unbelief. But through the mercy of the remnant, they shall get reconciliation. You see? How? By this. Ezekiel 37, verse 25. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt. And they shall dwell therein, even they and their children, and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Gone. Because this is the tabernacle of David that's being built up again. You see? The elect is going to fall under David. All the Israelites are going to fall under David. And then above David, you have the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, which is Yahushai. You see? So the point is that even they and their children and their children's children forever shall dwell in that land safely. You see? So that's how the 2/3 is going to come back through the seed of the righteous that make it into the land, and their children and their children's children are going to be dwelling safely. You see? But they are going to have a lesser rank, as I explained at the beginning of the video. And to close it off, this is how they're going to be feeling in the kingdom of heaven, because there's going to be a whole lot of love making, as the scripture says. I will speed it at this time, I believe. Too much. Gone. This is Isaiah 60, verse 22. A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, Yahweh, will hasten it in his time. You see? So, a small one, which is a small one in rank, is going to be a strong nation. And a little one in rank is also going to become 1,000. You see? But the Most High is going to hasten it. So there's going to be a whole lot of babies being born for the nation of Israel to come back, all of the nation of Israel to come back in righteousness. So going to the last scripture, which is in Isaiah 66, verse 5. Hear the word of Yahweh, ye that tremble at his word. Your brethren that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake, said, let Yahweh be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. You see? He shall appear to their joy, meaning the remnant that is going to see Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. He's going to be our light. He's going to be in our inward parts, as it says in Jeremiah 31 and 31. The Most High is going to appear to their glory. And we are those men. But to the 2/3, when Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai shall appear and put the laws in their inward parts, they are going to wake up ashamed and be ashamed, as it says in the scripture, that they're going to wake up to everlasting shame and contempt. You see? So basically, that was the lesson going into that why 2/3 are created, what is going to happen to the 2/3, and how they're going to be regenerated in the kingdom. So, Lord willing, this video is edifying, and I want to say Kal Halal Yamla, Yahweh, Basham, Yahushai, Basham Rakakodash, Shalom Akim.